Yes, sir.
Do we have an order of speakers somewhere? So it's you to me, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good morning to everyone. We're going to get started. I'm John Pallone, Mayor of Long Branch, and on behalf of our city council members who are here, members of the Long Branch Police Department and myself, we thank you all for being here today. We're honored to welcome Governor Phil Murphy back to Long Branch this morning. And we also are glad to welcome a great group of legislators and public officials who are also here with us today as well. So in addition to Governor Murphy, we'll be hearing from New Jersey Attorney General Matthew Platkin, Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin, who I don't see here yet, Senator Paul Sarlo, Senator Vin Gopal, and Pete Andreev, who's the Executive Vice President of the New Jersey State Police Benevolent Association. Thank you, Pete. Also with us here today are Congressman Frank Pallone, Senator Anthony Bucco, Assemblyman Ronald Atkins, Assemblyman William Spearman, Assemblyman Kim Ullner, Assemblywoman Marilyn Paperno, Roseland Borough Mayor James Spango, Milburn Township Mayor Maggie Miggins, and we have our Long Branch Council members Bill Dangler and Mario Vieira. Governor Murphy's commitment to public service is remarkable. He has a genuine personal passion for serving the people of New Jersey, and I always thank him for that. His years of strong leadership have carried us through some very challenging times, and all along the way, he supported seniors, helped working families, and children throughout the state. Governor Murphy has always been an advocate for public safety, which is why we're here today. He recently passed laws to provide additional funding for law enforcement agencies, which has helped us significantly here in Long Branch, and strengthen much needed gun safety laws. Today, he's taking action on a serious issue that is impacting cities across our state. And thanks to the bipartisan legislation by several people in this room today, he will be signing 4 bills against auto theft and auto trafficking. So with today's bill signing, we make further progress in reducing auto thefts and helping our law enforcement community bring criminals to justice. So thank you for joining us, Governor Murphy, and for your outstanding leadership and advocacy always for our state. And with that, Governor Murphy.
John, thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is a favorite room of mine. I've enjoyed being in this room, as Bill Dangler and others know, on many occasions, swearing members of council, swearing you in, John. It's an honor to be back in Long Branch, and thank you again for hosting us so graciously. I want to add, I won't repeat your acknowledgments, but I want to add a couple of names. Our Chief of Staff, George Helmy, is in the House. Lieutenant Colonel Sean Kilcummins is here representing the state police. To all members of law enforcement, it's an honor to be with you. We're going to hear from Pete shortly representing them. And I have to underscore triply, A, it's a bipartisan group of folks here today, and that's the way it should be. And B, my congressman is here, Frank Pallone. So I just want to make sure I say that for the record. Tony, keep an eye on him for you, if you could. And to all the other dignitaries and elected officials, it's an honor to be with you today. So over the past year, we've taken a series of steps to crack down on the troubling rise in auto thefts. Unfortunately, like almost every other state in America, we were not immune to what has been a national surge in car thefts. Working with our law enforcement partners and under the Attorney General's great leadership, we took action. Among other steps, we strengthened the state police's auto theft task force's ability to investigate and go after the car theft rings that are at the heart of this problem. We helped local law enforcement agencies purchase automatic license plate recognition technology to track and locate stolen vehicles. And in May, I was proud to sign a bill that makes it harder for thieves to sell stolen catalytic converters, and on the other hand, easier for members of law enforcement to identify, locate, and prosecute violators. I'm pleased to report that we are already seeing the impacts of these actions. We saw a 10% decrease in auto thefts for the last 4 months of 2022 as compared to the same months in 2021. And from January through May of this year, and that's the latest month for which we have data, we saw another 10% decrease in auto thefts, again, compared to the same period last year. Right here in Monmouth County, last November, following a months-long investigation that spanned 10 counties in 2 states, the state police broke up a crime ring that had stolen dozens of vehicles. So while these results show that we are making progress, and that's all good, we will not rest on just 10% reductions. We all acknowledge collectively that we need to do a whole lot more. We take this issue seriously, which is why today we're here to announce additional measures to protect New Jerseyans and their vehicles. So bear with me. First up, we are making it a crime to possess or distribute special tools to break into cars, specifically master key fobs or computer programs that can unlock and start a car. As cars have gotten more sophisticated with keyless entry and push-button starts, so have criminals and the tools they use. So this bill makes it a 4th-degree crime if you have or if you sell the hacking tools used to steal cars. Second, we are making it a more serious crime to steal a vehicle or knowingly accept one, depending on the value of the car. We're also giving more leeway for prosecutors to seek more serious consequences for those who repeatedly steal cars. So if someone has been convicted twice or more of stealing a vehicle or receiving a stolen vehicle, they could face longer jail sentences. For the safety of our communities, we must stop and deter those persistent repeat offenders that continue to steal vehicles. Third, we are eliminating the presumption of pretrial release for those charged with stealing a car or receiving a stolen vehicle if they were arrested or convicted for a separate auto theft offense in the past 90 days. This is the type of common sense, targeted tweak to bail reform that appropriately responds to changing circumstances. But I want to be clear at the same time. The evidence overwhelmingly indicates that bail reform in New Jersey is working. It has made our criminal justice system fairer while at the same time preserving public safety. This was a landmark achievement of both parties, by the way, accomplished before I got here, I have to say, under Governor Christie, and all 3 branches of government. And I will not support any efforts to unravel it. I have a unique perch for another week. I'm the chair of the National Governors Association, and I can't tell you how many governors, both parties, have come up to me and asked if they could learn more about our bail reform package in New Jersey, because it feels like it's one of the few places in America that's actually working. We are the gold standard. But this tweak, I think, is a smart one. Fourth and finally, we're making it a more serious crime if you are the head of a car theft ring or if you're part of a car trafficking network. We know that this is a relatively small number of criminals who are responsible for auto thefts in the state. So all of these measures are aimed at stopping these individuals and disrupting their criminal networks. While we do not take steps like this lightly, I can assure you, we must stop the criminal rings that are fueling this pattern. Now, if you may recall, I urged our legislature last November to pass additional laws as part of our comprehensive plan to combat auto theft in New Jersey. And I reiterated that call at our State of the State address in January. So we and I personally am tremendously grateful to the leaders here in this chamber, and for a few who could not be with us, for recognizing the seriousness of this issue and getting this important package of bills to my desk. And I want to in particular thank the Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin, and he's not with us today, but the Senate President, another great leader, Nick Scuteri, and obviously all of the colleagues here from both sides of the aisle. Having your car stolen is a far more than an inconvenience. Just ask the hardworking New Jerseyans who depend on their cars every day to get to work or to pick up their kids or to get medical appointments. For so many of us, our cars are our lifeline. So to have it stolen can have terrible consequences for families and completely upend their lives. Not only that, we know that stolen cars are part of a larger problem. Too often these stolen vehicles are used in shootings and other violent crimes. So stopping auto theft goes hand in hand with our efforts to stop violence. Protecting New Jerseyans is without question my most sacred responsibility as governor. So we are fully committed to helping law enforcement deter car thefts and hold those who commit these crimes accountable. And I know my colleagues in the legislature, again across both parties, are equally committed to this goal. And I thank them again for working together to address this issue. We will never stop our efforts to keep New Jerseyans safe. Now, before I bring up the Attorney General, if you'll permit me, I want to make some remarks about a completely unrelated topic, and that is the tragedy that is unfolding at the port in Newark. I wanted to offer an update on this tragedy that has claimed, tragically, the lives of 2 firefighters and left 6 with injuries, including 1 critically injured and 3 moderately injured. We pray that each of them makes a swift recovery, and our hearts go out to the families and loved ones of Augusto Augie Akabu and Wayne Bear Brooks Jr., who lost their lives. We all feel the loss of these 2 longtime veterans of the Newark Fire Department, and I have ordered flags today to be lowered to half-staff across the state in their honor. As for the blaze itself, it is still uncontrolled. Unfortunately, the fire has spread significantly. Overnight, it went down 2 floors of the ship, from the 9th level to the 7th, and extended roughly 300 feet forward. Yesterday, George and I and others, including Mayor Ras Baraka and Congressman Rob Menendez, visited the port, where we were briefed by emergency response officials, and it is clear that we are dealing with an extremely difficult set of circumstances aboard a very large cargo ship. Due to the significant amount of debris inside the ship, the normal outflow sprouts are clogged, and water is not able to flow out at the rate that it is being pumped in. That means the issue of the ship listing is a growing concern. It is currently listing 3 degrees toward the dock. A 5 to 6 degree shift is the danger zone. Both the Coast Guard and a private marine firefighting company are poking holes through the hull to allow the trapped water to drain out. There is no timeline as to if or when the ship would reach the danger zone, as it remains to be seen how successful this operation will be. There are multiple firefighters on the ship itself. They're all privately contracted by the ship's owner and have specialized training in marine firefighting. The Newark Fire Department and FDNY, I reached out to Mayor Eric Adams this morning to thank him for the support they are lending to the effort. Both continue to pump water onto the ship from the exterior. There's also a very sophisticated drone operation underway, courtesy of the Elizabeth Fire Department. A unified command has been established and is working with architects and the ship's owner to determine where sensitive materials are located on the ship, such as oxygen and fuel tanks, to try and avoid any additional explosions. We have confirmation that the cargo on board consists of both cars and containers. The containers are mainly filled with food items, so nothing overly flammable or toxic there. The cars, on the other hand, are the bigger concern. The Department of Environmental Protection is on site monitoring air quality along with the Newark Fire Department. Everything continues to operate normally at the port except for the 3 adjacent businesses nearest the fire, but the possibility of spot closures remain if the winds shift. This has been an all-hands-on-deck situation with units coming in from across the region, including fire departments and EMS agencies from, among other places, Newark, Elizabeth, Patterson, Milburn, Verona, Bayonne, Hoboken, Jersey City, North Hudson, as well as I mentioned FDNY, Port Authority, U.S. Coast Guard, and others. Again, we are tremendously grateful to all of our first responders for their awe-inspiring courage and professionalism, and we have been painfully reminded of the dangers they face, so let us all pray for their safety. Thank you for allowing me to give that update. With that, please help me welcome the great Attorney General of the great state of New Jersey, Matt Plakett.
Thank you, Governor. First, let me extend my condolences to those firefighters who we lost and who are still, we're praying for the others who are injured, and to all the first responders there, thank you for everything you're doing. This is a really important announcement, and I want to thank the Governor, the Speaker, the Senate President, Chairman, all of our senators and Assembly members who were part of this legislative package. When I came into office about a year and a half ago, I spoke to the Governor, and this was the first topic that came up. And he said to me, which is something that has been true, anything we need, we will get. And since I've been here, we've had every possible resource made available to combat what was a growing challenge in rising auto thefts, not just in New Jersey, but across the country. But we know that it's not unique to any one community. It's been an urban problem, it's been a suburban problem, and it's been a statewide issue. And as the Governor said, it is linked not just to that stolen car, but we've seen it in other fuel other violent crimes. So the tools that we've been given here today, and frankly the tools that the legislature and the Governor have given us and law enforcement for a long time now, are extraordinarily helpful in reversing that trend. And you've heard some of the numbers through May, a 10% reduction over last year. That's significant. And that's because of the resources we had already been given. Increasing the auto theft task force, which the Governor and the legislature allowed us to do, with more state police personnel, more prosecutors and detectives from the Division of Criminal Justice. Changing how we think about auto thefts to focus on those who are who are driving the problem. It's a relatively small number of people driving the auto theft problem throughout the state. And so tackling auto theft the same way we do shootings, by the way, a 25% reduction in shootings in the state last year, taking the same approach. So you are safer today in New Jersey because of the tools that we have been given and how we are using them. And I'm confident that with these tools, you will be even safer. And we know that auto thefts continue to be an issue. They continue to be top of mind. And as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer, my first responsibility is the safety of our residents. I take that obligation seriously, and I'm grateful to have had the support from the Governor, from the legislature, and from so many elected officials and across the state who have given us everything we've needed to combat this growing challenge and to reverse the trend so that we can make sure everyone is safe in their homes. So thank you, and to all the first responders and law enforcement officers part of this effort, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Matt, and same right back to you and your leadership on this. Cannot thank you enough. Lindsay Rotolo is with us as well. Lindsay, I want to give you a shout out, First Deputy at the working with Matt. You mentioned leaders in the legislature. We're going to hear from a few of them. First up to bat, please help me welcome the great Speaker of the General Assembly, Craig Coughlin.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. As the Governor and the Attorney General pointed out, it's a day that I think we all need to pause and take a second to think about. You know, we call the firefighters and others brave men and women, and sometimes we have to realize that all too often their bravery is overcome, and that's what happened yesterday, and it is a sad day. But it's a good day for the people of New Jersey today, because something that has been the top of their mind, something that has been a problem throughout our state for a while now, something that people are constantly frustrated and angered by and scared often about the possibility of having their cars stolen from their driveway, in their garages, and just the constant threat of something that is, the Governor mentioned, look, for people, their car is often their lifeline. Without their car, they don't have a job. Without their car, their children can't get to the places they need to go. It's central to their to their life, and it's not necessarily easily replaced. And so taking on this challenge, we have had some success, and I think the legislature that the governor's about to sign today will bring about more. And let me just pause to take a couple seconds to acknowledge my colleagues in the legislature who are with me: Senator Gopal, Senator Sarlo, Senator Bucco, Assemblywoman Olner, Assemblywoman Paterno, Assemblyman Atkins, and Assemblyman Spearman. And the next group is going to come in just a couple of minutes. We'll get to all the but the truth of the matter is, they often say that too many cooks spoil the broth. And there were a lot of legislators who were involved in this. In addition to those that I've mentioned, Assemblywoman Swain, Assemblyman Tully, Assemblywoman Spate, Assemblywoman Flynn, Senator Lagana. In this case, all those cooks got it right. And they did that because they consulted with local mayors, with local law enforcement, with Attorney General Platkin, and with the Governor Murphy's administration to find the right approach to solve this problem in a very balanced way, because the spike in the sophistication of auto theft required a comprehensive approach, and that's what we undertook, and that's what I think this package of bills accomplishes. It delivers immediate aid to local police and prosecutors by giving them more tools to deter organizations that prey on cars and young people. It helps address the technological vulnerabilities that come from modern conveniences like master key locks, remote locks, things like that, ignition interlocks, things like that. Legislators listened to law enforcement about how to tackle the thorny issues, and there were certainly some thorny issues throughout this process, like how to deal with minors who are caught up in these criminal enterprises and to protect them from the folks who would prey on them, because they could be able to convince them, you're not going to get in trouble, you're under 16, and would lead them to a path that was going to be detrimental to them for the rest of their lives. I think focusing on the criminals who are recruiting those young people and exploiting them is something that was critically important, and we accomplished that here today, or about to. These bills find the right balance of sentencing guidelines that send a message and strike at the heart of the problem. The networks that have developed over the last few years will be easier targets to break up with these new laws. We're giving law enforcement the opportunity to fight back in a real way. The leaders of those networks are now face much tougher penalties, as they should, and criminal enterprises will be exposed. I want to thank all of the law enforcement, all of the local officials, everyone who had a hand in making these laws possible and in getting it right. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to my colleagues, Senator Scutari, Senate President Scutari, for his leadership in this, and thank you to Governor Murphy, who had made this a state priority and challenged us to come up with something that accomplished all that I think we have in the bills he's about to sign today. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Congratulations on a job well done. Thank you.
Amen to all. As I was thinking about the folks who are here today, some are in their backyard, the LD11 team, but many traveled here, including from Essex County and parts beyond. Bill Spearman, I think you win the award. You've come the farthest from Camden, so great to have you all here. And I couldn't agree more with Craig. This is a classic team effort. Let's switch chambers for a moment and hear from two outstanding leaders in the Senate. First up, please help me welcome Bergen County's own, the Mayor of Wood Ridge and the Chairman of the Budget Committee, Paul Sarlo.
Thank you, Governor. It's my honor and pleasure to be here in Long Branch, and thank you to all the officials from Long Branch for opening your chambers and your community for us today. I'm going to go back about 2 years when I started to begin to sound the alarms and bang the drum about auto thefts in Bergen County, and not just along the Route 4 corridor and the Route 17 corridor, but auto thefts into our communities. And as typical, my first call to the executive branch is typical to George Helmy, our governor's chief of staff, who always takes my phone call, and we began the conversation. And I want to just thank the governor, you, and the executive branch for really keeping an open mind during this process and providing us with all the resources and the collaborative effort that we undertook to get to where we are today. Immediately discussions with our General Matt Placken. I think it was the first day you were in your office, we were on the phone talking about how we could provide the tools that are necessary to combat this. You immediately provided guidance to our local municipal police officers. There was some confusion on pursuits, and you provided some clarifications on that. And then the great leadership under Colonel Callahan and the state police for immediately jumping in and working with our local and county partners. So it was a collaborative effort that then led to a series of pieces of legislation. And my office had a hand. I think I'm the sponsor on all the bills here in one way or another. I want to thank Kelly Reyes from my office, very talented young municipal prosecutor who had a hand in drafting all this, working closely with the Attorney General's office. But we got it right. We did get it right. And we have a series of package of bills that goes at the heart of this. And that is, this became a very sophisticated, organized crime matter that only leads to additional violence. These cars that are stolen, we find all the time that are involved in other very violent crimes. And Governor, you did say it right on bail reform. I did support bail reform, and we did a great job there in a very bipartisan manner, keeping folks with addiction and mental health out of jail. But these very sophisticated organized crimes found ways to try to penetrate that. And here today, we're not undoing bail reform in any way, but what we're doing is we're providing our local police and our state police with the resources they need so we could crack down on these very sophisticated rings who are actually taking advantage of minors and using them in some of these car thefts. So I'm very proud to be part of it. I'm proud to be a sponsor of this. And I can't say it enough. Thank you to the governor and to the executive branch, because when I started to bang the drums up in Bergen County about this, the executive branch jumped in both feet, head first, to work with us in the legislature. And today we deliver a package of bills and of reforms that will go a long way to keep our streets safer in New Jersey. Thank you, and God bless all of our first responders and, of course, our firemen who are still in danger up in Newark. God bless you all.
Amen to all, Paul, and the same right back to you and your colleagues. Great, as I mentioned, great spirit of teamwork here. So we're in his district. It's my county. I know it well, and I know that this has been a scourge in Monmouth County, and the LD11 folks know that very well. John Pallone knows it in Long Branch, and this is going to make, what we're doing today is going to make a big difference in a lot of places, including right here. Please help me welcome the outstanding Senator Vin Gopal.
Thank you all. Welcome to the city of Long Branch. Thank you, Mayor, for having us. I'm blessed to be here with my wife, and we're raising our daughter in the city, and it's I couldn't say incredible things about our police officers here for what they do every day. Thank you, Governor, for all of your work, Attorney General. I know Colonel Callahan was mentioned. Also, a shout out to Chairman O'Toole. I had a number of conversations with him over the last year as far as vehicles going in and out of the port, and he has been incredible getting his law enforcement. So everybody, as the speakers mentioned, have really worked hard together on this. There's been a lot of politics as it relates to bail reform and a lot of press releases, but the data speaks for itself. At the time, and as the governor mentioned, bail reform happened under Governor Christie. Every member of the Monmouth County delegation, Republicans at the time, voted for bail reform. So, we have to look at the data. We have to be driven by data. And today we're doing some tweaks and some additions to build on a lot of the resources that have already been provided. And I want to thank Speaker Coughlin and Chairman Sarlo, as well as Senate President Scutari and Chairwoman Pinter-Marin. This is actually the second straight budget. The city of Long Branch has received money for its police department because of many of the challenges we had last year, as the mayor and congressman know, at Pier Village and elsewhere. And there has, because of challenges that are outside of Long Branch, unfortunately. So there has been a really strong commitment and a lot of conversations and a lot of bipartisan working. Senator Bucco and I spoke last year because he had similar problems in Morris County, and everybody working together to make today happen. And as the speakers previously mentioned about the awful loss of the two firemen up in Newark, who we all send their love and prayers, we need to continue to remember all of our law enforcement, our firefighters, our EMTs, our first responders who are on the front lines each and every day, not knowing what car theft or what home invasion they may walk into. And we need to make sure we never take them for granted, and I know we're doing that today. So thank you very much.
Vin, amen to all. Well said, and thank you for your leadership. Last but not least, frankly, maybe the most important person to speak today, representing law enforcement in the law enforcement community, and representing specifically the New Jersey State Policemen's Benevolent Association. Please help me welcome their Executive Vice President to give us our final words of the day, Pete Andreev. Pete.
All right, good morning. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the legislators and the executive staff and the Attorney General's office for creating this legislation and laws to help our members, the New Jersey State PBA, which we represent 33,000 police officers, corrections officers, and members of law enforcement in the state of New Jersey. So on behalf of the New Jersey State PBA, I'd just like to thank the governor and the bill sponsors for their support on this serious public safety issue. This legislation sends a message that we will not sit back while criminal enterprises terrorize the people of New Jersey. Car thefts are personal and sometimes a violent attack on innocent victims. The bills signed today will allow law enforcement to target the leaders of these rings and make sure that repeat offenders are properly adjudicated. The State PBA believes that the best way to protect these people is to give law enforcement the tools to target and punish the true criminals in our society. These bills will do just that. And again, we can't thank the leadership of our legislature and our executive branch and our Attorney General's office for having the foresight to see this, to do this, and enact these laws that will help all of the residents in New Jersey and our visitors as well to our Jersey Shore and elsewhere. So thank you again for your time. And again, our PBA also is has sent our thoughts and prayers and to the unions of the firefighters in Newark and Elizabeth for their members that passed away and also are gravely injured right now in the hospital. So again, thank you all for your time, and I appreciate your allowing me to be here. Thank you.
Pete, well done, man, and please give your leadership our very best. So, as they say in Hollywood, it's a wrap. I'm going to step to my right and sign this. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, especially our members of law enforcement, and I want to thank John Pallone in particular as our host this morning. This chamber is a very special chamber for a lot of us, including for yours truly, and I don't know where we'd be without the federal fight that we get every single second of every day from your brother, Congressman Frank Pallone. With that, if you think you're getting a pen, come on down and join me.